Hey there, everybody. Gen X Man. Another video, keeping the ball rolling. Thank you all who have stopped by so far and checked out my previous videos. I appreciate it more than words can say. It's just so much fun and so flattering. You take time out of your day just to watch me ramble about geek stuff. So thank you again. And if I've entertained you, please feel free to hit the like, subscribe, bell, all that good stuff. But anyway, enough about that. Today's video, I knew I was going to make a concentrated effort not to and but I already broke the rule. Dang it. But today we have Daredevil Born Again coming out in just a couple days. And the trailers look magnificent, fantastic. I'm very excited for that. Big fan. Season one and season two. I think season three I don't remember it too well. I watched it, but I don't remember it too well. I think it kind of lost me at that point. But I love Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock. I just feel like he's got it. You know, that boy is just, he can play Matt Murdock all he cares for. And Vincent D'Onofrio as the Kingpin, mm, love it. Absolutely love it. Yeah. So I'm very excited about that coming Monday. I think it's Monday. Um, but anyway, check out the digs. I promised y'all I was gonna at least showcase the what we call the Star Wars room here at some point, and this is one piece of it. The entire room is made up like this, and I'll showcase various pieces as we go along. I do more videos. But yeah, you can see we got the gaming books right there, the West End games, the D20 sort of Pathfinder spin-off, whatever they were, you know, and so on and so forth. We got the art of books up there, the Lego, AT-AT. My wife's one of her romantic interests outside of me. Kidding. Cad Bane and BB. That painting's by a local artist. Got down here at Rinks. And of course, you know, we've got the stamp collectors that we had to buy from USPS, and some posters we got from Ollie's, and you'll see all the you know, the Legos and such over yonder. We love putting together Legos. We put in the Vice City soundtracks. Yeah, that old game GTA. Listen to that radio, Vice City radio, while we're putting together Legos. It's pretty fun. I enjoy it. And also you see, I actually did the painting on the stripe there. It's a motif I may revisit in some capacity downstairs once we finally gussy up the other rooms. Anyway, if you guys didn't log in to hear about our interior decorating, since we've got Daredevil Born Again coming out in a couple days, I thought today's video might have something to do with Daredevil or Daredevil adjacent. And I dug out one of my favorite graphic novels of all time. I got this back in 90 or thereabouts when it was first published. I believe it was published in March 1990. Talking about Mark Miller, Lynn Varley, Elektra Lives Again. This thing is amazing. As you can see, it's put out by Epic Comics. That was an imprint of Marvel Comics to publish their more adult-oriented kind of content, you know, where they could show boobies and they could cuss and there'd be blood and guts. And that is precisely why I will not be showcasing any of the interior work in here because there's blessed little of it that would be okay on YouTube. So I don't want to get booted off YouTube in the first month I've been on. But the graphic novel itself is excellent, as evidenced by as I said, it came out in 90. About a year later in 91, it won UK Comic Art Award. I'm not familiar with that, but I am. It also won an Eisner, and I'm very familiar with the Eisners. So that was something. It's like good on them. I mean, and certainly deserving of the accolades. It it was one of those things where Miller and Varley's art was really starting to come together. This is early on, this is early on in their careers. And you have M- Frank Miller's, he had gotten away from the Marvel style that he had cultivated up until that point when you see in the early Daredevil in the series itself. And he had been sketching more like a traditional Marvel artist. And this, he had started to move into his blocky, um, I don't know how to describe it other than, I can't think of a better word than childlike. And I know that's not, it's meant as a compliment. I mean, he's stripped down all the extraneous hyper realism and all that crap, and he perfectly captures the action and the dynamism in any particular panel. He, as an artist at this point, he knows what he's doing, and he is crafting each panel to show exactly what he wants. And this is really interesting when you've got somebody who's both writer and artist. So the man sits down and he's got his story. He says, "What do I want to convey in this panel? What do I want to convey in this panel?" Da, 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 da. And it's just a masterclass in showing what needs to be shown in this panel and nothing more. Like he doesn't spend a lot of time on all kinds of stuff like shading and all that kind of stuff where you can get bogged down and the picture can take a while to come out and it's beautiful and so on and so forth. But either he didn't want that anymore or he knew Varley was going to take over that position because his sketches are just boom, get that dynamic quality to that picture. Every character looks distinct, and that's another thing about his art is that every character you look at him and you instantly get a sense of who this character is. You get a sense of Matt's lean musculature and how he moves. You get a sense of Elektra's skinny musculature. How and that's a theme that'll come up again in Elektra Assassin with Bill Sienkiewicz. But here, you can really see he's coming to his own. He's figured out what he's doing, and he's stripped it down to the absolute basics. Lynn Varley, who at the time I believe they were husband and wife. I believe they're married. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. Um, but Lynn comes in. She adds the hyper realism and the depth and the just absolute beautiful painted artwork onto Miller's rough sketches. Um, should I say? I don't even want to say rough. I want to say simple. He's got it. Like I said, he's got it pared down to the absolute essentials. Lays it out, draws all the important stuff. Varley comes in and paints the canvas. It's almost reminiscent of growing up in the 70s and 80s when you had these early cartoons and you had the animated cartoon characters were uh they were minimal in line. Something I like to do in my own art is just keep it simple, convey the idea, don't overstay your welcome, and keep the ball rolling. And that's how the cartoons were. You had very few lines, but every line conveyed the character through story and emotion and emotes and so on and so forth. But you had behind these very simple renderings that had to be simple because they had very little time to get them out the door, get them animated. But behind them, you had these paintings, beautiful paintings, the landscapes that these animated characters would move around in, and it merged together just flawlessly, just absolutely flawlessly. Worked so well, and that's it's kind of interesting that in a different rendering, but in the same spirit. That's what we get here with Elektra Lives Again. We have, the pared down, simplistic drawing painted over the painting adds the beauty and the depth and the for example, Miller doesn't do, or at least I couldn't see that he did any line work for flames. And there's a part where cathedral's going up, windows are shattering, so on and so forth, and you see the flames in the background, completely rendered via painting. And that is, you've got a blackened outline of Elektra in front of the flames, framed with the cathedral window or whatever it is that's busted out, and then you got the flames behind it, and it just adds this depth. It's very pleasing on the eye. That's the one thing I really wanted to drive home. Um, and also, Miller took this into account with his writing as well, and the words are very minimal, both the narration, and also the lines from the various characters. Very minimal. Gets in, tells what needs to be told in the panel, moves on. And there are tons of panels that have absolutely no words whatsoever. And it's fascinating. There's a sequence where Matt's he's woken up from a nightmare and he's descending from his bedroom at the top of his brownstone or whatever it is in New York, and he has to go down 2 or 3 flights of stairs to go to his kitchen or bathroom, whatever it was. The panels become the descent. The panels follow him down the stairs, and even though they're broken up into individual panels, um, you see Matt in each one making his travel, and it showcases his home beautiful. It's just one page spread. It's just, man, it's just masterclass on using the visual medium to tell a story. It's exactly what comic books are about. And but yeah, highly recommend this. I picked it up back in I believe 90 or thereabouts, and it was 25 then, which in adjusted dollars today, I took a real quick glance, would be about 60. But I'm seeing it go online for 35 to 40, so it's actually cheaper comparatively to buy it now than when I got it when I was a kid. And also further assuming I got it in 90, that must have been when I had the paper route, because I don't understand how some, poor redneck kid in rural West Virginia was affording a $25 graphic novel. Thankfully, I snuck it under the parents' radar. It is one of my favorites. Like, absolutely, from that time period. I had not been exposed to The Dark Knight Returns yet. I think this actually was one of my very first exposures to Miller and his work. And after that, I got Elektra Assassin. But before then, all I had a reprint of some ancient Daredevil comic from the 30s or 40s or whatever. I'd have to dig it up, find out when it's from, but it was old. And then I had a one issue shot where this Miller was writing and drawing, but he didn't have his style yet. And he's sitting by Bullseye's bedside with a gun and playing Russian roulette with him, and it's a one-shot story, and it is really well done. You can see why Miller had the confidence of the industry like he did. But I believe this was my third exposure, because I had the Goofy comic from back in the day. I had the Russian roulette episode by Miller. Then I got this and was just like, and honestly, it changed how I thought about comics in a large way, because as you can see, this thing's big. It's way bigger than a comic. And that showed me that comics there was almost a distinction in my mind. Just like you had your comic books, episodic adventure, newsprint, you know, 8.5 by whatever the dimensions were, and then you go over here and you have a graphic novel that is oversized, beautifully rendered, and very adult storytelling. and really well done. And that really got the wheels turning to being like, huh. It's like, so you really can do all kinds of things in this graphics medium. And that led me down a rabbit hole in real life that I'm still going down to this day. um, but anyway, so we have so with Daredevil Born Again coming Monday, I believe it is, third or whatever. Highly recommend going and watching it. I'm very excited about it, very pumped. But we've got a plethora of old material to go back and consume, and I wanted to get the word out on something that influenced me my entire life. And hopefully, you guys go pick up a copy and let me know what you think. See if you agree, disagree. But I mean, it's worth every penny, whatever you have to pay. And just think, buying it these days, like I said, adjusting for inflation, you get a better deal than I did. That's all I got for today, though. Thank you again, everybody who stops by and gives me a moment of your time. I appreciate it. On your way out, if you don't mind, go ahead and hit that like button. Costs you nothing, helps me out a ton. Subscribe if you want to see more, and ring that bell if you want to get notified when there's a new video, which will probably be fairly often. I'm thoroughly enjoying this YouTube thing, eager to see where it goes. Anyway, thank y'all. Have a good one.